Yeah, in the crypto case, the way I view it is people want to see more increased usage. The more users there are, the more valuable that token is.
Right now, yeah, because that's the way the game is being played, right? So here's like I wrote blog posts on blogmaverick.com years ago, 15 years ago, and I said if you put 2004, I think I wrote a blog post that if you put a Mickey Mantle baseball card on your desk and you put a share stock on your desk that doesn't pay dividends, there's no difference between the two, right? Yeah. All that matters is what somebody's willing to pay for it. And analysts for stocks and even people who trade baseball cards create narratives, right? You know, price earnings ratio. That's just a narrative to sell a stock, right? You know, growth ratio, PEG. You know, price versus growth, earnings growth. Those are just narratives, right? That people use to try to sell stocks. You know, we use back in the early days of broadcast.com, we use visitors, traffic, right? And scalability of our network and amount of content, just narrative to sell a stock. And it's the same thing now, right? TPS, right? Narrative to, to sell a token, right? Number of views, get how many people can you get on your DM? Just a narrative. Yeah. So we're in that narrative stage still, which is normal for the early days. That's really when you're looking for these markers to reflect value. That tells you it's still the early days of what's going on. So to your point, CZ, it'll be interesting to see how this transitions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. And Mark, in terms of what, I think we've talked quite a lot about NFTs, like in terms of what you've done in the space so far, I heard a story about you minting a token on Rarible and what sorts of NFT adventures have you gotten into so far?
Yeah, I've minted a bunch of stuff where I've played with it and sold them on Mintable.app and Rarible.com and OpenSea.io. And so I started off where I just took a GIF file of me walking into a Mavs game to go work out, and I put up 10 of them. I think at $25 each, whatever the equivalent each was. And I'm like, no one's gonna buy this shit. And bam! Not only did they sell, but they kept on being retraded, and I only set my royalty at 10%, I think, at that point. And I was like, oh my God. And then I tried some other things. So then I created my own version of Cameo. Do you guys know what Cameo is? Cameo is an app/site where celebrities, where you can go and ask a celebrity to record something for you. So you can go and ask Mr. Wonderful, would you record, say happy birthday to my friend Sam, and I'll pay you $500, right? Okay. So what I did, I said, okay, I'm going to create my own version of Cameo. And so I created a little video that I minted. I think this one was on Rarible. And I said, if you buy this, and it was the equivalent of $2,500 in ETH, if you buy this, I'm going to unlock a special email address that I created specifically for this token. And you can send me an email, and I'll customize a video just for you. And bam. Sold them out in a heartbeat, and they even resold. And I think I sold all of them in 22 minutes. And I got some really cool videos that I sent out to people. And so, just trying to experiment with different ways that this works. And so in terms of just buying other people's NFTs, I bought one, Ellerbeat, I forget, it's a generated music and art that I thought was really cool, that also used the bond curve to set pricing and to set reserves. And they set the reserve at 90%, which meant, okay, I'll buy one or two of these because, there's a really good chance I'll get my money back if they sell these out. And so I bought some of those. I bought a hash mask simply because I wanted to see how the NCT works. I bought a bunch of Top Shots, but we can talk about Top Shots a little bit with Flow. They obviously are having some of their scalability issues. And I don't know if it's the Flow that has trouble scaling, or just the application itself, because I think that they just got overwhelmed with volume, which is a high-class problem to have, right? You'll deal with that because you can fix that. But it's interesting now because there's so much heat around it that the prices for the Top Shots, when I got in, I was buying them all up for $2 and $3 each. Now the lowest price is $30 each. So it'll be interesting to see if new kids coming in think that's too expensive or it's worth it. But the bigger picture is that collectibles from the NBA and other sports organizations, music, whatever, there is a market there. And the good thing about Top Shots that I think was just brilliant is, you don't have to think in terms of a wallet. you just bring your credit card. And you guys at Binance have done some of this as well, right? Where you just all that matters, and they don't have to deal with the know your customer stuff, right? And and so because they're not dealing with financial assets per se, and so I'm trying to not learn too much about FinCEN, but I'm learning more than I wanted to, and so it'll be interesting to see how that drives people to the market and what people do with flow, and whether or not they'll allow people to take and get access to the moments, they call them, their NFTs on flow.
Actually, that's a really, really fascinating story you just explained there. I think myself included, I actually have not gone and minted my own NFTs. I received a bunch and bought a few, just playing with it. But that's a really fascinating story, actually. I think, and also especially with the Flow and NBA doing their sales of NFTs, and you yourself selling NFTs, really giving NFTs a lot more exposure. And there's some really interesting use cases that have not been really sort of executed. Like concert tickets can be NFTs because they're one per seat.
Sure.
And then there's a new idea which you actually alluded to. People in Japan are suggesting using NFTs as a deposit voucher for exchanges, because again, as you said, selling NFTs is really easy to get anybody can sell it. There's not a whole lot of licensing around that, but they carry value, right? As you said, they represent value. Why could we use that as a deposit voucher? So a lot of those really interesting ideas are coming up.
Yeah, it's interesting because anything that's perishable, an NFT can do better. Right, a ticket, right? Something that if you don't use it, you lose it. Whether it's an airplane ticket, a sporting event ticket, a concert ticket, and there are a lot of companies that have been working on blockchain versions of ticketing. It's just a question of what's the best application of it, and how do you integrate it with everything else that a concert venue or sports event venue does.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. And so one more sort of longer form question here before we get into what we call our quick fire session. Sure. But I guess we've talked a lot about applications tonight. We've talked about DeFi and NFTs. I think more generally, Bitcoin has hit $1 trillion in market cap. Companies are putting it on their balance sheet. Mark, from where you sit in kind of the business world, are you noticing a sentiment shift? Do you think it's a meaningfully different sentiment shift? And how are people's perceptions of crypto and blockchain change from where you sit?
It's not a shift, but it's an awareness, right? In other words, I don't see companies rushing to put Bitcoin or Ethereum or anything else, BNB or anything on their balance sheet, right? Not at all. But I am having conversations with people asking, why would Tesla do that, right? What is this guy at MicroStrategy doing, and why? Why are they holding these things on their balance sheet? And then that eventually turns into a conversation about gold and how people perceive gold, and then that turns into a conversation. Well, should sovereign nations that hold gold sell part of their gold and move it into crypto? And honestly, I'd be all for that. Not all of it, right? But holding gold in Fort Knox in the United States of America is ridiculous. It has absolutely no impact, no value whatsoever, except kind of, just like you guys, on your BNB probably treasury a lot of BNB, right? Because it kind of reduces the outstanding float. So I haven't got a lot of discussions there at all. Where I've tried to push discussion is, rather than people treasuring Bitcoin or whatever, is understanding the impact of smart contracts on their business. Because if you can show a company that they can become more efficient by using blockchain and smart contracts and reduce their cost and hassle factors and reduce friction, then that'll take them in the direction of understanding the value proposition, like CZ said, on a variety of tokens, and seeing where the play with tokens, if there is one for them. But more importantly, understanding introducing the applications into their businesses to become more efficient. That's one That's one thing. The other part is using DeFi for corporations, right? If you just set up a wallet and you buy some crypto, and you know, even though it's over collateralized, that's typically not a problem for, you know, a decent, you know, even a bigger small company, right? You know, 10, 20 million or more in sales up to huge companies. And so if you know, where I've tried to move the conversation is not to treasury it, but, you know, even a big company, like even me, right? If there's a bank that I have a big account with and I want to borrow something for a mortgage or whatever, I still got to talk to somebody. I still got to deal with it. And then I have to DocuSign stuff. And I'm trying to convey to entrepreneurs and CEOs, big and small, that just by holding some of this crypto and using DeFi, you're good, right? It takes you 15 seconds and, you know, you can borrow up to 15% and you're set, you know? And once you build and build and build, you can go see CZ and how do you implement these things to really monetize IP with NFTs? How do you start using smart contracts to change your processes? Because can you become more efficient and friction free? And then finally using DeFi within a corporation. Now, if you look at it that way, as opposed to just, you know, because Elon is Elon, right? And Michael Saylor is doing it his way, and you know, kudos to him when it works. And so for everybody else, it's got to make business sense, and it's got to really have an impact on their operation. And I truly believe, look, and I've been through a lot of wholesale changes, right? You know, like I said, in the early days of PCs, when people didn't think they needed PCs, to being one of the first local area network and wide area network integrators, when people didn't think they needed to connect them locally, let alone globally, to the internet, to mobile, to you name it. This is going to have just as big an impact. But you've got to convey the applications from a business perspective to show the impact it'll have in this business. Because once you can prove that it'll impact their efficiency, their productivity, and their profitability, it's over. That's when, so to answer your question, Colin, it's not so much looking at Tesla and MicroStrategy and saying they did it. That's pretty much meaningless, honestly. Look, it creates demand, and all hodlers love it because anything that creates demand makes the price go up until a whale sells, and you get flash crashes like we see now. But the underlying principle that's critical is if we introduce crypto and smart contracts and blockchain, regardless of whose they are, into corporate America, and companies start getting productivity and profitability advantages and competitive advantages over other companies because they're doing this, that's what changes the game. All the other stuff is just mishigas, right? It's just stuff, right? It's just trading, and it's just talking, and it's narrative, and it's fun to a certain extent.
Done a session like this with Michael Saylor as well, and you guys, it's interesting that you guys actually focus on very different parts of the crypto ecosystem. Michael Saylor is very much a Bitcoin bull, just corporate treasury management, which I still think is valuable and meaningful. You guys are focused at very, very different parts, but I believe both are very valuable. Both are really, really interesting.
Why do you know? Because again, the big part of crypto I disagree with is the fact that it's a hedge, that, you know, it's against, you know, an inflation hedge. There's no correlation whatsoever between what the dollar does, other than if people buy more, right? If there's more dollars out there, maybe they'll buy more, you know. But if interest rates go up, you know, if interest rates were 6% right now, crypto would be lower, you know, because you could get, you know, risk-free money sitting in your bank account, you know. And so I think, and not just crypto, but stocks as well, you know. And so, you know, to me, all this discussion about it being a hedge, you know, fiat is going to be destroyed, and, you know, all this, nah. You know, crypto works because it's a great application for certain things, and it can have a ubiquitous impact in corporate America, right? It can have DeFi, can have a ubiquitous impact to making finance easier and better for everyday citizens. Crypto can have an impact with decentralization to making things fair. Crypto can have an impact because it can take people who otherwise can't get appreciable assets and allow them to get appreciable assets. I'm sorry, they can otherwise can't get appreciable assets, and allow them to get an appreciable asset right? And I can see why people want to do it. But, you know, I just, to me right now, and maybe history will prove me wrong, right? Maybe we'll see as inflation increases, people put their money into to crypto and all those prices accelerate, which by definition is, you know, inflation.
Do you have a slightly different view on that? I do believe Bitcoin is a better form of money. And just because of that, you will have the intrinsic ability as a safe haven asset. But safe haven or not, that's just, safe haven, it has to be related or benchmarked to something else. But for me, like even just Bitcoin, crypto, like I'm not a Bitcoin maxi, but Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency has some advantages. Bitcoin itself, especially, is just a better form of money.
You convey and transfer value, right?
Yeah.
It's far better than fiat, right?
True. So I guess we'll find out if that happens. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll know when we know, right?
Yeah. I think we lost our moderator. Colin, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you guys hear and see me?
Yeah. Oh, your video's frozen, but we can still hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, that's the only part you need anyway. So, yeah. I guess we do have a couple community questions here. Cool. Would love to get your take there. So the first one, and I think we kind of in this last piece of the discussion, we kind of circled it, and I think Mark, you referenced it early on. But at Rabindeck asks, will cryptocurrency ever be mass adopted as a transactional currency?
Yes, I can answer the question. Yes.
We look out for as a global market, as global market disruptors coming out from crypto.
So the part I heard, sorry, I dropped you a little bit there, Colin. But so cryptocurrency depends if you want to have a sovereign digital coin and call that cryptocurrency, right? Will there be a USDC issued by the Treasury? Yes, just like you're seeing in China and other places as well. Why? You know, I don't, and also realize, let me take a step back. 99% of transactions right now are digital anyways, right? You know, you're not handing physical money anywhere. Credit cards are all digital, right? It's just that there's a lot of friction because of the way the system, the legacy of banking has been set up. And so going to a USDC issued by the Treasury makes perfect sense, right? And so that's why I don't think Bitcoin, that's another reason why I don't think Bitcoin per se is a treasury, even though to CZ point, I do agree, it's easier to transfer. But once we'll have to get to USDC because look, it costs more than a penny to make a penny. It costs more than a nickel to make a nickel. It costs more than a quarter. And, you know, making dollar bills and dealing with all that, we'll get to the point, maybe 10 years, maybe 20 years, maybe 50 years. I don't know when, but we'll get to the point where it's a lot more efficient. And plus now with the pandemic, you know, people barely even want to use cash. Nobody wants to use cash. You know, it's scary when you have to pull a dollar bill out of your pocket and get change from somebody in a store. Nobody wants to do that. So USDC makes perfect sense as a sovereign issued digital coin. And I absolutely think that'll happen.
Cool.
Totally.
I kind of agree.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, CZ.
Go ahead, Colin.
Awesome. One more from the.
Oh, you've gotten better looking.
Yeah. It's okay. I'll just switch to audio for the time being. No worries. Yeah. At Lulu Kit asks, what is your take on blockchain gaming and the incorporation of NFTs into gaming? I think that's actually certainly a hot category we maybe haven't touched on just yet.
Yeah. I mean, video games have used tokens for years, just, you know, call them different things and, you know, cashless currency for years. You know, it might be Fortnite Gold, it might be whatever. And so it's a given that it'll be used. It's just a question whether or not the biggest publishers want to, you know, go to blockchain, and they'll make that decision based off of whether or not it's more effective for their company or not. If they can continue just using gold, which has
so there's so much unspent air miles where if they bring it also the blockchain, they may be a huge cost in that sense to the guys issuing it. So, but the first ones who issue it do have that significant advantage, saying, look, we're the ones. Then they move that advantage to the users, which is now is more transparent and everything. So I think it's going to happen sooner or later. Yeah, don't know who's going to do it first, but it's going to come. Yeah.
Yep. Awesome. Awesome. And I guess as a final question from the community here to close things off, SDub2019 asks, Mark, why are you so passionate about things? What drives your passion?
One, I'm competitive as shit, right? I just love to compete. And you know, when I started out, I was always the youngest. Now I'm not the youngest anymore. And so I'm really competitive. I like to learn new technology. And when something gets me really excited, you know, I've been through a lot of disruption phases, right? Or disruption cycles. And I've seen where they've worked and where they haven't worked and what's worked and what hasn't worked. And it took a while from my perspective for the smart contracts and the layer ones or layer zeros to really start to take hold. But now that I see them and now that we're seeing applications that really enable them, it's exciting. And I think, you know, to CZ's talked a lot about, and I agree that we're in a proof of concept mode right now.
Yeah.
And part of the challenge is, you know, it's not mainstream yet. And you guys asked about that as well, right? It's not mainstream. There's a tight community, and it's almost misleading because it's a global community. And here in the United States, we really tend to be, we not understand that on the radio, I'll just turn on my TV. I just got satellite TV. It's brand new, right? I can get it from anywhere. You're crazy. You're wasting your time. And so when you're at that point, you're in there at the right point. The hard part is there's a lot of narrative and a lot of people trying to make money off the tokens. And I don't think enough people trying to understand the underlying applications and where they can be used. And as more and more businesses come in, and the proof will be in what I said earlier, if companies in particular can find ways to change their business and compete better, it's over. Yeah. If individuals feel comfortable with DeFi and we get out of the liquidity chases, right, and the yield farming chase. Yield farming is narrative creation right now, right? It's liquidity chasing. And liquidity, to your point, CG, I can't agree more that is not sustainable. And that's going to be a problem. And so we've got to transition from that as quickly as possible to show people that DeFi is really personal banking. Yeah. That's what it is. And we've got to have better applications and make it easier to get fiat into the DeFi platforms, even with KYC. And
what's up, family? If it's your first time checking out the show, let me know what city, what state you're coming in from. If you're outside of the U.S., let me know what country you're representing. Family, I need you to smash up the likes, smash up the likes, smash up the likes. Also, if you have not done so already, after you subscribe, there's a little bell next to your subscribe button. Go ahead and click that thing right now so you can get your notifications each time I drop a new video like this. That way you'll be in the loop. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the most anticipated shows in the Willie D Live history. Coming to the stage, the CEO of one of the most explosive cryptocurrencies in the space, Russell.
What's up, Willie?
Hey, man, you knocking it out the park like them Astros gonna do tonight. You dig what I'm saying? Win, lose, or draw. I'm riding with the home team, baby. Go Stros.
That's it. That's it.
How you feel, man? It's got to feel good, man, to be the CEO of one of the most explosive cryptocurrencies in the space right now.
Yeah, it is, man. It's great. You know, it's humbling. It's an awesome experience. You know, it's just been crazy. The stuff that we've done so far, and the things that we're gonna do is just mind blowing, man. I'm telling you, we're gonna do some things, some crazy things that people can't even fathom what's coming up next year. After we get this launch out of the way next weekend, it's just gonna take it to a whole other level. It's just the beginning, man. We got so many things planned for this company. It's crazy.
Yeah, and we got a huge announcement, and I want to save the announcement for a little later. You know, I want to make sure everybody's in, everybody's locked in.
Yeah.
We have a very diverse group of subscribers at the Willie D Live show, and so I want you to talk in a manner that everybody don't know, everybody don't understand the cryptocurrency space, but they want to get in. So I need you to make sure that you speak in a way that you can, that the experienced traders understand what's happening, and also those who are brand new to the game can figure out what's going on. Because I keep hearing a lot of people saying, what are y'all talking about? What's happening? I'm hearing about it. How do I get in? You know, first and foremost, let's break it down. What is Saitama first and foremost? What does it mean?
Well, Saitama in itself, right, is based kind of like on the One Punch Man series. It has a lot of different meanings, but it's based off kind of like the anime regime, right? Saitama, you know, it's also a country in Japan, or a city in Japan. The name of the coin was launched at birth, right, and given the name Saitama. We originally had the Inu on it, which classified it kind of as like a meme token, similar to some of these other Dogecoin, you know, any other Inu coin you could think of. But what we've done and what we continue to do really takes us outside of that meme coin, you know, kind of classification. So we've done a lot of different things that specify us and make us very unique. So we dropped the Inu, rebranded, but we didn't want to lose the Saitama name because that's how everybody kind of already affiliated us with, and it's catchy, right? And we got the logo, and we got the wolf pack, right? So that represents us. You know, so that's the Saitama. That's it.
I see y'all.
That's it. That's it. So we come strong. That's the group, right? It's a community. It's a community-driven token, so it takes all of us. You know, the community members every day. So we're doing a lot of good stuff with that. So that's kind of the Saitama brand. Now, crypto in itself, for those that don't know, right? Because there could be some people on here, first-time viewers, first-time understanding what crypto is. It's a digital asset. You know, essentially going to take the place of traditional fiat in the very near future. You know, when you're going to your grocery store or your gas station, you're paying with your debit card, you know, you'll have an opportunity to now pay in cryptocurrency, which is the same thing. It's a digital currency. It lives in a digital world. It's on the blockchain. And we're kind of taking out the middleman, right? We're removing some of these bigger bank conglomerates. We're taking money out of their pocket. Or we're giving it to the world. Right? We're in control of our money now. We're in control of cryptocurrency. We're not being told how to utilize it, how to spend it, how to trade it. You know, how we're going to send it, and we're not putting fees on it. Right? We're eliminating a lot of that. We're developing cryptocurrency, not us, but just in general, right? Speaking broadly about crypto and what it's meant for, what it's supposed to do, and we're trying to just really get behind it and push it to the level of what it's meant to do, right? Cryptocurrency has such a large platform that we can utilize to do so many different things with. Now we're trying to shine some light on it and bring in all and maximize its potential, right? Get everything out there for it. So that's what we want to do. That's what we've been harnessing on. And we want to get everybody familiar with it, you know, what crypto is, how they can utilize it, what they can use it for, and how Saitama really embeds and marries that with traditional senses of how different companies can get involved. You know, how you can not only be in control of your money, but how you can utilize it from day in and day out, you know, to do whatever you need to do. Or if you're a business owner, how you can utilize crypto to maximize your business. So that's kind of what sets us aside from a lot of different companies, right? A lot of different coins. We have a very broad vision and scope where we're doing a lot of different things to help the industry, help the economy, help the ecosystem, help, you know, all these other countries with their infrastructures. You know, integrating a digital asset and currency is the future, right? That's where we're going to be. There isn't a world where we're not relying on cryptocurrency in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. We're trying to, you know, push that because it's the future. It really is. Everything is going to be digitized. Everything's going to be digital, whether it's assets, whether it's shopping, whether whatever it is, it's all going to be. We're going to live in a metaverse digital space, right? We can't avoid that. What we've done and where we've come from in that space since the last 6 months is astounding, and it's going to continue to grow. Like, you just look at what crypto's done since January of this year. You know, one person out of 20 might have known what crypto is. Now I bet you 2, 3, or 4 or 5 people out of 20 know what crypto is, and or is invested some way or another, or is utilizing it in any part of their daily life. So that's what we're maximizing. We got a whole new approach to what crypto is, and we're really putting a different spin on it. So
right. And so how do you get in? Because that's like the second most popular question.
There's a lot of different ways to get in, right? We have some centralized exchanges that you can buy Saitama on, XT, Bank, BKX, recently Bitmart, Hotbit, Gate.io. So we have these centralized exchanges for people that feel comfortable with these platforms. Uniswap, of course, is a little bit more tricky. Having to swap Ethereum for Uniswap, connecting your wallet to it. There's instructions on our website. There's lots of tutorial videos out there for people to utilize. But come next weekend or shortly thereafter, when we launch the platform, you'll be able to go on to the SATA wallet, create your own wallet, swap your coins for Saitama, and make it a really streamlined approach. Right. So we realize that's a problem in crypto, not just with us, but with everybody, is how do you buy crypto? That's the first question you get from anybody. How do you buy it? I get calls all day. Like, how the hell do I buy crypto? I want to get involved. Like, oh, you got to do this, that, and the other, and then speaking a whole nother language, right? So now we can just say, hey, go onto the App Store, download the SATA Mask, connect your debit card, your bank, whatever,